Be prepared to be inspired this morning by our next guest. Bacterial meningitis is a severe and life-threatening infection that, if left untreated, it can lead to brain damage and even loss of life. So consider that and imagine facing that hurdle at just 6 months old. It's part of Memphis Lafferty's journey, and today he joins me along with his father, Chris, to share how they overcame together. And I'm so glad to invite you guys here. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Morning.
So glad to have you here. Chris, I'm coming to you first because it is the month of fathers. It is June, right? So I want you to take us back to the beginning of this story. You got that diagnosis when your son, Memphis, was just 6 months old, and they said that at that point he only had 12 hours to live. And so take us through those next moments, your thought process, what was happening.
Yeah, no, I took him to the emergency room in Dallas, and they said it's a virus, it'll pass. Like all parents hear. Yeah. You hear that with newborn babies. And yeah, that's not how that worked out. His lips started turning blue and his eyes started rolling back in his head. So I went back to the emergency room and told them what was happening down at Children's. Right. And like 12 doctors jumped on him. And they came back out and your son has bacterial meningitis. And I was like, cool, give him a shot.
Let's keep it moving.
Because I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And they were like, no.
Especially as a new parent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I have no clue. And they're like, no, he has 12 hours to live. Call your family. Wow. And I mean, you just break. Yeah. I mean, you literally just break.
There's no other feeling.
There's no other thing. The only healthy thing to do is go insane.
Right.
Oh, you know?
My gosh. And so, no, keep going.
You know, he was in ICU for 3.5 months. He had 2 strokes in his brainstem. Two strokes in his brainstem. They said even if he did live, that he'd be severely brain damaged. Right. You know, so we didn't know. You know, you're just there sleeping on the floor by his bed for 3 months and just
hoping and praying.
Exactly. You know, and just the community and family and everyone came together and they had to amputate all 4 of his limbs to save his life. And they were about to pull him out of his coma, and no one knew what was about to happen, you know. And it was wild because my father was behind me, okay, and I didn't know this till later. He had the camera, and Memphis started coming out of his coma, and he was 9 months old at the time. And his eyes opened, you know what I mean? And you saw him kind of like fuzzy, right? Yeah. And his eyes opened a little more, and my father was taking camera shots of all this. And he's starting to focus, and he sees me, and you see this little smile, right?
On Memphis's face.
Yes, and then his eyes completely open, and you see this huge smile because he saw me.
I'm sure that was the most gratifying feeling.
At that moment, right there, everything else went away. It didn't matter because he's right there.
And you did the right thing.
Absolutely.
It was a hard decision. You ended up doing the right thing.
Dude, you talk about overcoming hurdles. Hurdles don't matter anymore because he's right there.
Yes.
He's right there. And we just, yeah, no.
It's an incredible story, one of faith and one of leaning in and thinking, okay, how do I get through this? And it's very relatable because we get lost. How do I handle this?
Absolutely.
What do I do? And so I want to come to you, though, Memphis, because you say you weren't raised handicapped at all. And so I want you to tell me what you mean by that, because this happened to you at 9.5 months
6
now.
months
6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And then 3 months in the hospital. And so you've always kind of known, this has always been your life. So
this is my normal.
Exactly. And
I don't
so
know anything different.
How do you conquer the challenges? How do you go about saying, I'm going to do this today and it's not going to stop me?
That's how I was raised. That's how he raised me. Anything that I wanted to do. Like when I was little, I really wanted a bunk bed. And, you know, climbing without arms and legs is difficult. Yeah, and falling is a big risk. So what we did is he bought me the bunk bed, and I insisted on sleeping on the top bunk. And he put pillows and blankets on the bottom, and I tried it the whole day, climbing and falling.
I love that.
And that's
so
just
you're very
one
much
example.
A try it parent.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just get up there.
We're gonna get at this. Yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Yes,
you know?
indeed. And that carried over into your adulthood because now you're working out, you're doing all the things you say every day is an adventure. I want to know more about you working out, though, because you do competitions too.
Yes,
Tell me more.
So I used to weigh over 200 pounds. Wow. And it was, as an amputee, it's very difficult, even just doing daily life activities, whether that's like moving around, climbing on chairs, very difficult. And one day, my friend invited me to the gym, just asked me if I wanted to go, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
No idea. But I enjoyed the environment and like the peace I felt in the gym. And so a couple years later, I started really getting into it, and it helped me with mental stuff too that I was dealing with.
It was like a space of solace.
Yeah,
a
it was
safe
the only
space.
place I felt myself
Like you.
was in the gym.
Exactly.
And skateboarding.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, when I first met Memphis, he was actually on a skateboard, which was really cool indeed. Father's Day, I had already mentioned, it's just around the corner. And listening to your father speak about you, you can tell how much passion he has, how much care, how much love. He's laughing because he's like, yeah, girl, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Tell me what it means to you, though, as his son, to have gone through all of these hurdles and to know that this person next to me is always going to be right there. He's always going to make sure there's a will and there's a way.
It feels amazing because like no matter what I do, whether I'm on here or in my worst moment, he's always there for me no matter what. Always by my side. We've always been together, just me and him.
So I just mentioned that we met at an event on your skateboard, which was so cool, and I was so inspired by Memphis that I instantly came back and told everybody about him. But I want to make sure that I get a quote in there that you said to me, which was really cool. And so you basically said, it's all about adventure, it's going to be okay, and one day at a time. And so is that how you approach life, I'm assuming?
Yes,
it's just
ma'am.
one day at a time.
One day at a time, because once you start thinking of future stuff, you start forgetting the present moment.
Exactly. And even when you have a bad day, there's always a tomorrow.
It's very hard, but
It is. I can only imagine. Okay, so I want to know, how do we keep up with you? How do we stay in tune with your story? Because like I said, he competes, and so I want to make sure that if you do well, that we all get to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
And your journey as it continues to grow, because like you said, adventure comes to you every single day, so you're learning something new every single day.
Yes, ma'am. My Instagram is Memphis Laff, LAFF_skate.
Very good. It's just that easy. Thank you both for being here.
Thank
this
you so
morning
much.
and-
No, it's
and
awesome.
being vulnerable and sharing
Of
your
course.
story, because I know
No,
this
I
is a
mean,
hurdle
lots of
that
people sit there.
continues to show up every day. And so I'm so glad that you guys are saying, look, I got positivity in my heart and I'm ready to take on a new day. And we can all learn a lesson from that.
Right.
We will be right back. Thank y'all.